In this week's episode of Only Murders in the Building, the gang dives deeper into their investigation, and we get a fresh look at the clues pinned to their murder board. From cryptic notes to peculiar suspects, the plot thickens as they sift through a list of people who might have it out for Charles. There's a lot to unravel in this episode.
Yes! Whoa.
In the beginning of the episode, we see the gang working on their murder board. There's a list of people who might hate Charles. And we have 49 names. I can't really see the handwriting clearly. But the names that stand out are Victor Williams, which has 2 stars by the name. Peter Reed has a question mark and a sad face next to it. Requiem Scott is scratched off, and Ronald Rowell is underlined 3 times. A note that says another murder in the building, and next to it says motives. Under it is a letter that was left by the killer telling the building to fix Charles' window. Only Murders in the Building movie poster with an X over it. It reads, "Building meeting tonight. Keep our home from being overrun by a Hollywood movie shoot." This poster indicates that some people don't want Hollywood attention at the Arconia, and with the Once Upon a Time in the West reference of murder being committed over property, could it mean something? Maybe the renters are worried about rent increasing with the guarantee of the building becoming more popular due to a Hollywood movie focused on it, and probably already has been gaining popularity in previous years due to the podcast. Also, doesn't it kind of look like a pig's nose? A note that says Podcast Connection? Under it, a note says West Tower Arconia. The number 773440 is flipped upside down and it says, "Oh hell." The residents from the West Tower Arconia, Alfonso, Inez, Anna, Vince Fish, and the Christmas all the time guy. And notice how Alfonso, Inez, and Anna don't have a last name? Go check out this video, which explains why that is. Blood message, tap in, a tinsel? Which we later find out that it's not. Dudnoff's lockbox's picture and code. A note that says, window painted, shut but pried open. A picture of the footprint, paint chips, a flight ticket from LAX to JFK Airport and Helga written on it. Long game written on what looks like a gambling game. A note that say, Sazz desk in LA. Suspect? Jan and Cookie? Jan escaped, underlined. Note card, says /Charles in common, and next to it is a note that says Red Cross Hall of Fame. Sazz and Charles share rare blood type, AB/RH null. Mabel, Oliver, and Charles put the final notes, saying, strong enough to carry Sazz's body. Sniper? Proficiency with guns? And finally, the note saying, hates Charles with a sad face. As they put together their murder board, they get some unexpected assistance from Detective Donna. Turns out the feds have taken over the case and they don't want to work with her. So she's come to give the Only Murders group a few pieces of intel to help them out. While the feds think Jan has something to do with Sazz's death and hired someone to do it, Detective Donna isn't buying it. Before she leaves, she tells the team that they found a shell casing in apartment 14F. That the apartment belongs to an M. Dudnoff, a retired professor whom the neighbors in the West Tower say is in Portugal, which is where the pig is from as well. All of the neighbors said they were playing cards with the exception of Mr. Christmas all the time guy. Sazz's phone has been turned off, and she too believes that Charles was the target, not Sazz. Just as Detective Donna is finishing up her Olivia Benson-style monologue, Eugene Levy, Eva Longoria, and Zach Galifianakis show up hoping to study Oliver, Mabel, and Charles for the movie. After Charles reveals that he might have angered Mr. Christmas all the time guy by convincing everyone in the building to sign a petition to ban real Christmas trees one year, Mabel is convinced that he should be their top suspect and decides to look into things. Much to her surprise, Eva has beaten her to it and is already at Mr. Christmas guy's apartment when she arrives. While Mabel tries to play things casual, Eva decides to take drastic actions and attempts to trigger Mr. Christmas all the time guy, who we learn is named Rudy, by breaking his decorations and threatening him at gunpoint. Fortunately, the gun was fake, and it seems so is Rudy. Rudy actually hates Christmas but has been forced to take on this persona after he posted a Christmas workout video that went viral. Now it seems the only way he can get his content to succeed is by playing up the Christmas puns, even keeping a naughty list on his well-defined and incredibly chiseled abs. With his help, Mabel discovered the string of tinsel she found at the crime scene was actually not tinsel as it's not flammable like the real stuff. She also discovered he has a ham radio as well and is thrown off when she hears the Perfect Strangers theme song playing on it. More on that in a bit. While Mabel and Eva look into Rudy, Charles and Eugene head over to speak with Pink Eye Guy aka Vince Fish, as Charles worries that it's not Pink Eye he's hiding behind his eye patch, but a bruise from the gun he used to fire the shot into Charles's apartment. Charles and Eugene come up with a plan to get him to take off his eye patch by doing a spit take. They go with the spit take plan, which ends in Eugene taking a punch to the nose and Vince revealing he indeed has pink eye. As they prepare to leave, Charles and Eugene spot a photo of Vince with his fellow West Tower neighbors that happens to have one individual's face scratched out of the photo. We'll talk about that later on in the video as well. With the rest of the gang working to track down leads, Oliver spends most of the episode trying to get Zach to like him and become invested in the movie. They have a montage of them enjoying their time together, or so we thought. The song playing is the theme song for the sitcom Perfect Strangers. We heard it playing in the ham radio, and Oliver and Mabel sing the song later on in the episode. Larry E.T. Bakke refers to characters from the sitcom Perfect Strangers, Larry Appleton and Bakke Bartakamis. The show was known for its lighthearted and often exaggerated humor, which leaned into camp and kitsch styles. Kitsch refers to art or objects that are considered to be in bad taste or overly sentimental, while camp is an aesthetic style that embraces over-the-top, exaggerated, and often ironic humor. In the closing scene of the episode, Oliver, Charles, and Mabel come together in apartment 14F as Mabel reveals her plan to become a squatter in the apartment in hopes that it will draw Dudnoff out of hiding. Charles isn't thrilled with the idea out of concern for Mabel, and she says this way they can hopefully get a break in their case while also keeping an eye on one another. As the group sits together on the floor, Mabel begins singing the theme song to The Perfect Stranger, the same song that played in the montage of Oliver and Zach, which has been in her head since she heard it on Rudy's ham radio. When she mentions this, Oliver recalls that Howard was clocking the same song on the radio earlier in the day when making a journal of the ham radio output. He tells the group that a person came on the line and said, "Meet me at 445, which is when Charles tells them about the photo in Vince's apartment and questions whether the voice belonged to the mystery person in the photo. The group realizes 445 is a channel on the radio and quickly tune their ham radio to the frequency and send out a message to see if anyone on the other end answers. Much to their surprise, a woman with an accent answers the calls and tells them they shouldn't be on the frequency. Mabel, Oliver, and Charles press the mystery voice about who Dudnoff is and whether they're out to get Charles, which is when the voice issues a very clear warning.
Get me.
The last person who came around asking these questions got killed.
That German-sounding woman on the hand radio is definitely the Helga from the note on Sazz's desk, right? Is she the woman who got her face scratched from the photo? Sazz also had her on her schedule at 6 p.m. and 4 p.m. to message her. Could she be the killer? There is so much still unknown. Let me know all your theories and thoughts about this episode in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.
I tell you, drop this or you'll be next.